everybody. How are we? Good. Almost break time. Coffee's still hot. I don't mind if you get up and get coffee. My name. Yeah. So my name's Piers. I run a. Do not get distracted by slides. Do not get distracted. So I run a business intelligence service that's subscribed to by retailers. Some of you may subscribe, some of you may read our newsletters. We provide newsletters, we do events. And one of the things we've done over the last 8 years is we published a report, Future of Retail Reports. And it's been amazing to kind of watch kind of the change that takes place. And I think my job today in the next 15 minutes is just to help you think through a little bit and provide a framework to help you think through all these kind of crazy technologies that we see, whether it's AR, whether it's new tracking systems, or some sort of robot, AI-enabled robot on the floor. And I'm going to give you a framework. But one of the big things that I took away from the research this year is how exciting retail is right now. I know the media paints this picture like the sky is falling. But brick and mortar, there's some real silver lining. There's a real opportunity we see within brick and mortar. Sure, we've had a bit of a shake-up, and that will continue. But the real world, the IRL world, help retailers and brands, the brands they carry, can connect with shoppers and consumers in a way that they can't with offline. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. Some quick stats. So, as we all know, offline retail is struggling. 96% of Americans have bought online. But there are some kind of opportunities here. Where brands use experience, where retailers use experience, we see an uplift. I think this is a stat from Barclaycard where they see a 10% uplift when a retail environment provides an experience of some sort, and a 14% conversion as well within the same survey. And we're also, one of the things consumers are looking for though is they're looking for that synchronized experience as well. They want, but if you have their data, if they have been shopping online, they also expect you to know who they are when you go into the store. And that obviously makes sense, but we all know that doesn't happen today. One of the biggest challenges that I see talking to brands, DTC brands, talking to retailers, is the fact, over the last 5-10 years, we've built our different silos. We have our e-commerce team, we have our retail team, we have a mobile team, but consumers, shoppers don't think of it like that. They don't see omni-channel, they just see one channel. They see a unified channel, and they just want to buy from the retailer through whatever mechanism that they wish to. Now, I'm going to walk through the research, but there's some interesting insights that have laddered up from that research, especially when it comes to consumer insights. So these consumer insights based on trend research. So I think you see from some of the other speakers, people see brick and mortar not as just a place of transaction. Sometimes it's not even the place of transaction anymore, but it's a place of playground, a place where they can play and experience. We just put out another report about Generation Z, and one of their big characteristics is the creation of identity, how they develop identity and present identity through social media and through the things they buy. And they look to the shopping experience to do that as well. How can I buy things so I can create multiple identities, different identities at different times? And also this thing about time. So, sometimes we're trying to get people in and out of the shop all the time as quickly as possible, or the consumer thinks they want to go in and out of the shop. There's also another way to think about time is that when they are in that experience with you, how can you create the best experience, the best use of that time for the shopper? And the other thing about consumers is they expect you to be in it for the long term. We have all this data trail. There's this data exchange. They want you to remember them. They want you to remember their transaction, and they want you to kind of build that relationship over time. Now, if you kind of look at retail and you map it across the Maslow's hierarchy, it's interesting if you can just do something simplistic as map offline and online, yeah? So, and it kind of shows you where the opportunity is. So online, obviously, it has all that kind of rational offering. It delivers fast, it provides all your needs. But what the offline opportunity is around how it can satisfy your aspirations, how it can satisfy your need for belonging. And I think if bricks and mortar retailers can provide that sort of experience through lifestyle marketplace, and then but at the same time look at it and run that on what we call a retail operating system. And so for the next 7 minutes, I'm going to quickly dash through this as well. It's going to be a lot of slides. Part of this deck is online. You can always email me. So I'm going to take you through. So let's talk about through the first section. This is around creating opportunities, helping our shoppers explore, develop identity. What are kind of some of the trends that we see here? This idea of at-home consulting. So how can you kind of take the transaction, the shopping experience, out of just the four walls and actually into people's homes? We've seen Amazon do that. We've seen Amazon now has that consulting service. Has anybody tried the consulting service? You can shout out. You can't use it in New York where I live, but you can use it in Las Vegas. I was just trying it last night, testing out. So you can basically, for free, invite people to come, invite a nice, smiley associate to come by, talk to you about all the different things in your home and help you understand how to set up a smart home. This is one of the pictures I found whilst I was searching last night. He's obviously a happy customer. Second one, okay, aspirational sales. So how can we help customers understand kind of how the product's going to work within a kind of a more aspirational experience, a higher level experience? Has anybody been to a beta or a store? Yeah. You like them? They're cool, yeah? So beta stores are kind of, I think about 11 stores. There's a new type of retail experience, especially for electronics. The founder basically thinks that the best electronics can't be found in offline retail. The big boys kind of muscle all the kind of cool stuff that you find at Kickstarter out of the way. And so they rent desk space in their store. They don't take any cut of sales, but they basically encourage technology startups to come into their space. And they even put small pop-up areas within Lowe's. I think this is in Lowe's. And so you can discover more kind of smart home experience. Revolving discovery. I'm sure some of you have been to the Story store in Chelsea. You've seen that concept of like changing retail every month, every few months. And we see more and more of that. This is a new concept called Bulletin. This is another experience where they have startups. They basically rent space to startups. I think they take a cut of sales as well. But they are kind of startups you can't find elsewhere. But with this one, it's more seasonal. They think about the seasonal, they think about those occasions, and they create thematic retail. It's interesting, kind of some of the larger brands are trying to do this as well. Timberland shoes at King of Prussia Mall are trying a kind of very thematic approach to kind of the retail concept. Third space, so how do we create community? How do we create a higher level, a halo that kind of helps the customers engage one another and feel part of a community? Selfridges, the London department store, realized that the music, actually there's less and less live music in the UK now. And so they wanted to kind of counter that by setting aside space. I think they did it over the summer, setting aside space and having gigs, DJ sets, meet the musicians within the store, and people could buy tickets and come into the store. In terms of technology, I think it's a UK game retailer. It's rethinking the experience as well, the community experience as well. obviously there's no real reason, there's no rational reason to go to a game store anymore. But so they create events, they create previews, they create kind of like community events to get people back into the store so that they can engage them. I think we all know that kind of food, there's a lot of use of food right now when it comes to retail and trying to kind of bring people into retail. One of the interesting things that came through in our research was also the use of wellness. And we all know that wellness is this mega trend, but we actually see it used in retail to drive experience and engagement. Did anybody go to the Saks Wellery over the summertime? So it was an interesting experiment. They're remodeling their second floor. I think they're going to redo the beauty floor, but for about 3 to 4 months, it was going to be empty. And so what they did is they just took over the space and they put a whole bunch of different health and wellness experiences, from the Peloton bikes, which you might see over in the sands, to a salt room, and even a exercise class run by an ex-convict called ConBody. And people can go and experiment. And so what Saks did was just wanted to watch and see what people would react to, what people enjoyed. And they're going to then use that in their strategy going forward. But this is nice, the iteration. Just quickly, Lululemon are also thinking about creating pods so you can relax whilst you're shopping. One of the things I saw up in Sands, which I thought was fun, is those sunglasses. You see those sunglasses that help you focus? I wonder whether you can integrate that. How can you educate, inspire your shoppers that they're confident in terms of how to use the product, how they can take that home and actually use the product in their home? Again, a lot of these examples are technology because of where we are. So, I mean, Apple, we all know about Apple. We've seen the theaters. You know, it's the place where kind of old people go and sit whilst somebody presents. But so they've realized they've changed it up. They're kind of walking away from that theater experience, but they're still educating people about the products and how to get the best out of those products. And if you go to Las Vegas, go to the fashion show, or maybe one of your local Apple stores and look at the experience, you can book yourself and go on a street art walk. And you can walk around and you can take pictures and they'll help you understand how to frame those pictures properly. You can go sketching with your iPad as you walk around the city. All free, just to help you understand how to get the most out of your product. And then providing people opportunities to test out the product before they buy, get to understand whether it's the right product for them. One of these companies is no longer around. I'll let you guess. Sadly, Lumoid, but we like what they were going to do. So Best Buy and Lumoid were going to come together and they were going to allow the products that were returned to be trialed, to be tested and rented. And so as a shopper, if you're thinking about a new camera or you're thinking about something else, instead of just like buying that product and hoping you're not going to return it, you could rent it, test it out for a little bit and see whether that product's right for you. And we talked about the value of time. Yeah, so obviously there's on one side trying to get people through the process as frictionless and quickly as possible, but when they're also within the process, how do you actually provide great value, great attention? MM La Fleur is a brand it's a fashion brand that's been created for women who don't have time to shop, executives. And they have an online brand, and they have one of the bento box, which they'll send you to help you find products. But they also have an experience, a kind of second floor, third floor experience in New York City, where if you fill out a long questionnaire about your needs and your lifestyle, and you walk in and you have this sort of pampered salon experience. I won't call it pampered, but salon experience, where they react to your answers and they pull up onto the rack there, different clothing for you to try on during a session. Maybe it's your lunch break or something. You may not see it. 40% are everyday clothes, 40% are elevated clothes, and then 20% they call showstoppers, maybe clothes that you're going to wear out to that party or that night out, big night out. We just saw augmented. We just heard talk about augmented reality. How can we use augmented reality to actually onboard people, allow them to get the most out of the products and services that they buy? I mean, I think Lowe's is kind of one of the most progressive retailers. I think it's one of the most experimental retailers out there. It's really worth tracking everything they do. Lowe's currently is playing with the VR. They have these kind of hollow rooms, and you can put VR on and you can learn basic skills. I mean, I don't know how to paint, I don't know how to wallpaper, but you can, using a VR experience, you can basically understand some of the mechanisms and some of the procedures when it comes to some of these home improvement ideas. And then just kind of last couple of minutes, just going to talk about how some of this gets enabled, this idea of providing kind of a digital layer, a retail operating system underneath. The trends that kind of driving this ideas such as ambient assistance. So how can we use smart devices, IoT, and other devices to respond to the shopper, respond to the associate, so provide always-on information, provide support during the shopping experience. We see companies such as Mall of America. Mall of America is this mega massive mall in the US, providing chatbots to allow that help, especially during busy time like holiday season, understand how to kind of navigate the store, navigate the experience. You can even chat to Santa, I think, during the experience. We talked about I talked about syncing of the profiles earlier on. Customers expecting you to have the data and you to use the data. They do expect some sort of kind of trade. They also expect some sort of login with that experience. They don't want you just to walk up and an associate to walk up and go, "Hey, Piers, how you doing?" You know, they want some sort of interaction there. But they want you to use that data. Farfetch is a system that provides boutique retailers with a sort of CRM information system to boutiques. If you think fashion experience, often comes from small boutiques with high-end products, but they're often independents or small chains. So one of the big themes that we see is these companies coming through and providing systems which allow inventory control, customer relationship management, loyalty, information systems, customer recognition. And when you have all that data within your store, and your store's gathering all that data, you have you should be using that data to help you select what products you might be selling tomorrow, online and offline. So we have Alibaba. Alibaba's creating a system that, again, they're going to share that with other retailers, offline retailers, where you can use their sort of services, their platform, e-commerce platform, and basically want to gather the data to help you understand what products you should be selling. Frictionless convenience, just using a mix of automation and expedited services. Just trying to remove the simple things like returns is such a pain. And obviously we're all getting all these boxes delivered to us, and then we have to return them somehow. Walmart is trying to make it as easy as possible to return within 30 seconds. It's their big new initiative. And then we have network logistics, and we talked a little bit about the inventory-less store. So I don't know if anybody's checked out the Nordstrom Local in Los Angeles. Anybody been there? So it's a store without any product. So it is a store without any merchandise. And it basically is a store where you can, it's a click and collect store, but within 1 hour, they will source the product from all the other stores in the area, bring it to that place where you can collect. Or you can meet a personal shopper. And one thing I noticed yesterday was they also will take any return that you have from any other retailer, and they'll ship it for you for $5, but they will ship it for you, which I think is a very fun and effective and engaging service. So this is my last slide. So here are 5 things to think about. Okay, So stores have this great opportunity to drive the product and brand experience. We all know that they're going to be in a smaller footprint. We don't need all that scale. But then, if we have these big shopping malls, we have great opportunity to create other experiences. They will log in. They want a respectful login process when they walk into your stores. Their stores retail will be part of a distributed network. Not all the inventory needs to be in the back room. It can be shipped around, it can be distributed around. And then retail can iterate. We can use all this data very quickly. See what we do, what's been selling offline. We can change what we're selling online and vice versa. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a framework, helps you think of some of these technologies. And I appreciate your time. Please check out the report sometime. Thank you very much.